Hello, I'm Lindsay Komzak, editor of Modern Distribution Management, and I'm here today talking with Joe Nettemeyer, President and CEO of industrial distributor Valin Corp, based in California. So how is the year going for Valin in 2012?
We're doing quite well. The first half of the year, we've been up 19.8% over prior year, and we've seen very strong bookings, and we think we will have another record year in 2012.
Part of your growth has been in services, and we spoke earlier this year about that success, and the article that we ran for MDM got a lot of attention. So what advice would you give to other distributors who are looking to revisit their approach to services and to increase revenue that is services-based, based on your experience?
Well, I think that the biggest question that we are all dealing with is how do we remain relevant in our roles with our customer base.
Sure.
We have found that maintaining relevance is required that we bring more to the table than just doing the traditional role of buying, stocking, and shipping traditional products. And we've put a lot of effort into designing subsystems, a lot of engineering content. We're now selling engineering services. We're getting preferential treatment because we're providing engineering services. We've pushed forward into assisting key customers with logistics supplies, with actually placing one of our employees in their location as a buyer for the company. We continue to expand our field services unit, which is a growing piece of revenue for us and qualifies us to receive contracts that those that are still competing in a traditional role are not able to obtain. We're expanding it steadily, and this is an area that we have to learn more about. 2 years ago, this was something that we knew absolutely nothing about. We made a couple of acquisitions. We acquired the knowledge, and we've been expanding that knowledge. 2 years ago, we had one service person in the field. Today, we have 14 currently.
We talked earlier this year about some of your big success that you've seen in oil and gas market. Are you still seeing strength in that area?
Yes. Our equipment is going into the fields that the oil and gas exploration companies are pursuing shale oil and shale gas opportunities with the new fracking drilling technology. And we've had tremendous success in the Bakken field in North Dakota and the Eagle Ford field in South Texas. We're beginning to see some orders out of fields that are in their early stages in the mountain area. We have considered moving into the Marcellus Shale area, but we have a hard time right now keeping up with what's emerging in the western states. It's a real plus. The oil companies have aggressive drilling plans, so we expect to be busy for the next 2 or 3 years in those areas.
Kind of shifting back to the services discussion, we talked a little bit about culture and how critical that piece is to making a strategy shift to work, which we've spoken before about how we shifted. You shifted kind of your strategy to focus on services. It was a very purposeful shift. How do you approach the question of building a team that can execute a new strategy? I mean, what were some of the lessons or the best practices you learned in that process?
You know, you always have a challenge in doing that. And the challenge for us is a continuous challenge because we're an acquisition-oriented company. Every time you acquire a new company, you have to integrate them into your practices and policies and get them to buy into the goals and the metrics that you're putting in place to measure their performance. So we took a look at a couple of years ago and we asked ourselves, what do we have to do? And we found it was very important for us to focus on installing our processes and also teaching our management team better critical thinking skills. So one of the things that we did was we decided to standardize our training, and we hired an individual who had a PhD in education and spent her career in industrial training, and she's developed a series of training programs for us that is required for all the managers to participate in, and we review the results, and we check and see if we're getting retention. If someone's not achieving the level of competence that we want, they have to repeat the course.
Wrapping things up, Joe, what are the top 3 things that keep you up at night? In other words, what's top of mind for you right now as an executive?
Well, obviously the economy is foremost in our minds. Way too much uncertainty, and I think the leadership in Washington is too inwardly focused, and we're just going to be rolling through a series of crises. We're prepping for that. We're watching our hiring and our expenditures. We're doing facility consolidations this year to reduce our fixed costs. Another area for us is attracting and retaining talented people. We several years ago began recognizing we had an aging workforce, so we're putting a great deal of effort into hiring new grads, and I try to spend a lot of time now talking to them, listening to, because they see the world differently from my generation, and making sure that we have a workforce that can execute our strategy is just paramount on my mind. So getting the right skill sets and the right attitudes is critical. And I think the third thing is I'm always looking at is what's the state of manufacturing going to be in this country. And I have real concerns. In California in the last 10 years, we've lost 35% of our manufacturing base. Still a lot of manufacturing here, but the challenge is when you lose a significant portion of your customer base is pretty difficult. So executing on our increased share of wallet at existing accounts is a critical thing for us.
Great. Well, thank you for giving us an update today.